Wake up, ladies! Yo, wig. Give me your wig. Give me your wig. 'Cause it seems like you are through with it. So it is time for yet another Patreon topic video. If you are not aware of what these are, I have no idea where you've been. But over on patreon.com/AdrianExpression, the people who signed up for the highest tier, they get to put their 2 cents in on the themes of these topic videos. So they get to vote on whichever one I present them with a couple of topics. They get to vote on it, and whichever one wins, I talk about. That's the one I choose to talk about. Now, I know I touch on this a lot in my content, so I didn't really expect this topic to win, but it did. So I'm more than happy to talk about. I'm more than happy to run my mouth. I promise you, speaking, talking, not shutting up, that's something that I have absolutely no issue with. I have no problem. So if that's something that you want to hear, let's go ahead and dive deep into it. So anybody who talks about social change, positive social change that is more inclusive, progressive change, they're going to be met with certain barriers. They're going to be met with people who want to remain in their comfortable little bubble of ignorance, right? So a lot of times when you hear, oh, you guys are too sensitive, it comes from a dominant group. That could be straight black people talking to black LGBT people. That could be white people talking to black people. That could be straight people in general talking to homosexuals, or gay people talking to transgender people. You see what I'm saying? So it usually comes from the group who's dominant, not wanting to hear the complaints of the marginalized or the oppressed. Now, what I find interesting about that is their fear, the dominant group's fear in whatever situation we're talking about, the dominant group's fear is the fact that they will be made uncomfortable a little bit for 5 seconds. The fact that they have to remove certain words from their vocabulary or add different ones. Now, they don't have to, and that's the one thing I always say. It's like no one's holding a gun to your head saying that you have to do these things. So I don't even, but whatever, that's besides the point. I'll get back to that. I'm all over the place already. But yeah, so the dominant group's fear is just that they will be made uncomfortable. Meanwhile, the marginalized group's fear is that they will be erased, not only from society, but just their actual being eliminated. So that already shows you the privilege that these dominant groups have in these types of situations. Now, like I said before, there's this whole argument about political correctness and all this. No one has a power to mind control you into doing or saying the things that are, which I think is human decency. No one is forcing you to say that, but when you get opposition, when you get social opposition, when people are able to now fight back with their words and policies, when they're able to dissect and tear apart the things that you have gotten away with saying or doing for the longest time, that these minority groups are gaining a voice and power, don't say nothing then. Like, nobody's holding a gun to your head saying that you have to do or say these things that are more respectful and inclusive. But when these marginalized groups start rising up, talking their shit and being just as loud as you are, don't get angry, because we already told you. Now, what I found in a lot of these situations is that sometimes members of the dominant group, like I said, in whatever situation, whatever interaction we're talking about, so a lot of times the dominant group, a lot of times they got away with saying all types of, disrespectful, disgusting, hateful shit about the groups that are underneath them on the social totem pole. They've gotten away with shitting on minorities and marginalized people. They've gotten away with treating them a certain way for so fucking long, because these groups did not have the resources that they have now, and still need more, but they're growing. They did not have the voices or the places in society to get their messages out about how they're being treated, their plight in this society. So now when they start speaking up, it's all of a sudden now that the reason why the dominant groups are getting angry is because this is how it's been for the longest time. We used to step on y'all like a doormat for eons, for centuries, and now y'all are too sensitive. No, we're not too sensitive. Now we're not getting too sensitive. We're just finally getting to a point where our ideas and our voices are actually being paid attention to. We're just gaining a little bit more of a voice. So we've always had these sentiments. We've always felt the disrespect and the hatred, but it's just now that we've been given some sort of megaphone because of the communities that we've built, because we've had to, because of these positions in society that we've started to reach now, because people have dared to be progressive, that now you can hear us. Before you didn't hear us because we did not even have the power to be loud enough. We were so silenced. You know what I mean? We still are, but we were even more so years and years ago. We were so silenced. But now that you're able to see what you're doing to us, it's like somebody holding a mirror up to your ass like, sis, look at yourself, look at the message that you're spreading, and look at what it's doing to our community. So instead of saying, yeah, that's fucked up, some people in the dominant group do not want to even go there, look at that, examine it, spend the emotional and intellectual energy to dissect it. They're not trying to hear that shit. They're just like, girl, shut your ass up. We're going to continue to do what we've been doing. Now, that would work for the dominant group if these minorities weren't gaining power in such a substantive way. Because every time you do this shit, it's not going to be like before where, you were met with silence and turning the other cheek. It's not going to be like that no more. You're going to be met with backlash. You're going to be met with people screaming back at you. You're going to be met with people not tolerating this type of disrespect or abuse anymore, especially if they built a power base for themselves. So now you're getting to a point where it's like, oh, now we got to listen to them. And it's just like, nobody's forcing you, sis. But understand that for every action, there's a goddamn reaction. And I'm not acting like minority groups are these superpowers. Now, of course, dominant groups can still bulldoze, run over, murder, disrespect minority groups. But it's going to get a little bit more difficult for them to do all of these things, especially if, like I said, we've been building these close, tight-knit communities. We've been building power. We've been building our voices. You're gonna have a little bit more difficulty doing it than you would before. So honestly, sometimes instead of these dominant people in these dominant groups, I would say sitting their asses down and listen, they decide that they don't want to, because honestly, they don't have to. If they hold all the power, they don't have to listen to what the fuck we're saying. It's only when radical things happen that minority groups gain some type of respect or voices, or at the very least get some of these dominant groups to leave us the fuck alone. So anytime I hear that, anytime I hear, oh, y'all are just too sensitive, I always think about the word like colored people or whatever. You know how they used to use that back then, those words. Someone could have said that y'all are too sensitive for wanting that to be changed to African American. Somebody could have said, and I'm sure that they did, these same talking points have been used over and over in history anytime any marginalized group has tried to gain equality or gain acceptance. These are the same talking points. The same talking points used, oh, y'all too sensitive, just stay your ass at that fucking water fountain. It's not that big of a deal. Stay your ass at that school. It's not that big of a deal. Why would you want to change how things are? Why would you want this integration type shit? Keep it how it is. It's just, if people come to the table with these types of arguments, nothing will change. And any type of progression will be viewed as something to be scared of instead of something to embrace. I always hear, when you're used to privilege, equality feels like oppression. And that's exactly what I think that the foundation, the basis of this whole y'all are too sensitive bullshit comes from. They're basically saying, hey, we've been punching you in the face for decades, for centuries. You used to be able to take all the hits before. So what happened now? No, what happened now is that I'm able to open my mouth now. Y'all are able to hear me now, okay? So I'm telling you to stop fucking punching me. And because I don't want to be punched in the face, because I don't want to be spat on, because I don't want to be disrespected, doesn't mean that my ass is too sensitive. I'm just a human being just like your ass, okay? So, and I don't understand what's the problem. If a whole group of people, that's the same mentality that, some of these racists came at black people with. When Black Lives Matter was gaining momentum, it was almost like, oh, y'all need to shut the fuck up. That's the same argument. Y'all are too sensitive. It's not that serious. And I'm just like, how can you really sit at a whole group of motherfuckers, a group of black people, group of people telling you, hey, this is one thing that we're experiencing in this society and we really need your help. We need some help to solve this issue. I don't understand how that's threatening. You know what I mean? I don't understand how is that going to do any damage to you, sis? Just be honest. You want that stringent control. You want to maintain that oppressive privilege. No one is saying that you're automatically an evil person as an individual for having privilege, but girl, damn, acknowledge it, and utilize it in a way that will alleviate some of these people who are oppressed. That's it. So, when we're talking about gay people, when we're talking about gay black people, I don't understand how you can look at these whole group of people who are saying the same exact thing and be like, nah, y'all are lying, or not even take it upon yourself to investigate what the hell they're talking about. And it's just like, just respect me. It's not even saying we want to steal your homes and houses. It's just saying, sis, respect me. Acknowledge me. I'm a human too. And I don't see how you can look at that and look at all these people saying that the very same thing and then come back with y'all are too sensitive. If I'm too sensitive because I want to be treated like a human being, then I guess I'll be that, you know? So I really want to hear what you guys think about this. I could not shut up. I could not stop talking, but I told you guys that from in the beginning of the video that would happen. But this topic always comes up. So I say, you know what, let's go ahead, dish it out, talk it out. Let me know what you think of it in the comments, like I said. And I hope that you have a good goddamn evening.